I wonder if this one's been in some sort of fender bender, right? Like, look at these panel gaps. Look at the gap there, kind of gets wider, compressed up here, and this big old gap right here. The last 2 months, we've seen a 10 to 15% drop in just the wholesale market alone. That generally takes 3 to 4 months to actually hit the retail market for us, the consumer. Hike up even more in price tag because of that guy right here. Although it looks great, underneath the surface though, you do get a garbage automatic transmission, a 4-cylinder engine underneath the hood, a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's just not inspiring a whole lot of confidence. A couple lawsuits flying around the brand. They're losing money, almost 60% drop in their stock since March of this year. A $100,000 pickup truck like this will easily cost you $1,800 to $2,000 per month for that loan. That's huge. That's mortgage-sized payments. Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So Carmax is killing the used vehicle market. In today's video, I'm gonna talk through the specific reasons why I firmly believe that. You know, 1 out of 5 auto loans that were applied for within the last 2 months were denied. 20% of auto loans are being denied right now. That's with people with good and fair credit, if you can believe it. Banks are just not issuing these substantial loans out to people like they're candy anymore. That's where Carmax comes in. They can nearly approve anybody, and that is why they're able to move their inventory. That's why you're actually seeing some vacant spots around me at this particular Carmax dealership. So let me talk through the details. Stick with me. So given the current state of affairs, Carmax is certainly taking advantage of the situation because these right here, these 4Runners right in front of me, they're easily $5,000 to $7,000 overpriced. And I'll show you a couple examples here in a second. One of them is quite alarming. That's that 4Runner TRD Pro over there. But an SR5 here, I'll show you. 2018 is the model year. 4Runner SR5, $30,000 they went for it with 85,000 miles on it. That blows my mind. But this right here comes into play. If you have challenge credit, you're going to get an awful interest rate, but you will get approved. You will walk away with the keys here. Let me show you a couple others here. This is a 2020 Venture Edition. They went $45,000 for it. I believe it had 46,000 miles on it. Again, similar miles here on the 2019 4Runner TRD Pro. But the more alarming bit is, I wonder if this one's been in some sort of fender bender, right? Like, look at these panel gaps. Look at the gap there, kind of gets wider, compressed up here, and this big old gap right here. Something is a little wonky with this 4Runner TRD Pro, and they still want $45,000 for it. That was very close to brand new price back in 2019. Let me see if you can see it here. 45 grand, 46,000 miles on this. That just blows my mind. So I am kind of shocked to see these pickups behind me here because these are actually among the top 10 best resale pickup trucks you can purchase. It's largely because of the starting price point. Here we have a 2024 Ford Maverick XLT. Kind of has a more of a black and darkened package to the headlights that looks a lot better than this XLT from 2023. This one here, 5,000 miles on it, 7,000 miles on it, $33,000, $31,000. So you tell me if that's a fair deal. That feels a little steep still for a used vehicle, regardless of the miles. So historically speaking, Carmax has always been able to leverage the wholesale market, right? If they've been unable to successfully sell a vehicle or two at a certain dealership, they can just wholesale it, right? Auction it off for a pretty high amount of money. But as of the last 2 months, we've seen a 10 to 15% drop in just the wholesale market alone. That generally takes 3 to 4 months to actually hit the retail market for us, the consumer. So maybe come February, March timeframe, we'll begin to see even lesser price tags on used vehicles. You know, it blows my mind the idea of Carmax being able to sell these new generation Toyota Tundras here, right? These new generation Tundras are coming with a large safety recall, at least the 22 and 23 models, which these likely are, right? So we'll peek at the window sticker here in a second, but these are now coming with $10,000 to $12,000 discounts off of MSRP brand new. So why buy a used one for that same discount? Right, for 1 or 2 years old? So it makes zero sense. And I just don't know how Carmax is able to do that. Let me see what we're working with. 2023 Toyota Tundra SR5, the non-hybrid, so this could very well be stuck with that safety recall, right? Over 100,000 units were affected with it. To be fair, in order to sell a vehicle, they do have to report an open recall on that vehicle. But $47,000 for that non-iForce Max version of this SR5 Tundra. Let's check out this one here. We have a 1794 edition, it appears, and they want $55,000 with 24,000 miles on it. This right here is a large part of the problem with this new platform. It's just not inspiring a whole lot of confidence, especially at that price tag. No thank you. You know, in theory, with so many brand new vehicles coming with pretty large discounts, in theory, the used vehicle market should be dropping tremendously, on par or even more. But, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, with so many new automotive loans being declined by banking institutions right now, that is a saving grace for Carmax, and that's why they're able to keep prices high and still move this inventory. They approve people, right? And that is why we're seeing some vacant spots. You know, historically speaking, after an election, presidential election, we do see a dip in interest rates. The Fed Reserve generally comes down just a little bit, and that's historically speaking, right? So there might be a glimmer of hope here on the horizon after the election. Maybe this time, or excuse me, come February or March, this next coming year, we will begin to see a lesser interest rate, which will have a second and third order effect on the prices of used vehicles here. We will begin to see that tremendous savings when buying a used vehicle compared to new. And this full-size heavy-duty pickup truck segment is a tricky one because brand new examples of this teeter between $80,000 and $100,000 brand new, which is why we see them coming with pretty large discounts right now in order to move that inventory. But it still makes you wonder if examples like this are even a fair deal, right? This is a 2016 Ram 3500 Tradesman with 70,000 miles. Not sure how well you can see that, but they still want $44,000 for it. You know, is that much better than a $90,000 new example? Yes, of course. But I think even the Tradesman, right? That's a little bit of a lesser trim, but still, that's our reality. Getting a brand new loan out for a $90,000, $100,000 pickup truck like this will easily cost you $1,800 to $2,000 per month for that loan. That's huge. That's mortgage-sized payments. Especially considering used vehicle loans generally come with a pretty astronomical interest rate, right? It's generally anywhere from 3% to 10% higher than a new vehicle interest rate if you were to get a new vehicle loan. So they're harder to get loans for, the interest rates are higher, and well, you're still not saving all that much with these particular examples at Carmax anyway. Now, Chevy and GM at large generally offer the most incentivized interest rates and discounts combined. That was during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, and post-pandemic. So you can go to any GM dealership and get an excellent deal when it comes to price discount and interest rate, which makes this even more baffling, right? We have a 2023 Chevy Silverado 2500 Custom for $47,000, 17,000 miles on it. Why not just go buy a new one? And finding an affordable used vehicle is becoming more and more difficult these days. Anything within that $8,000 to $15,000 price range is pretty difficult. So these are the quote-unquote cheap vehicles of this lot, this one being the cheapest. It is a 2018 Ford Focus SE. They want $13,000 for it, and it already has nearly 100,000 miles on it. Like, I hate that that is the reality, right? Still, 13 grand is not anything to scoff at, but well, that's still what you're paying for a very, very used Ford Focus. I'll maybe show you a couple of these examples here. This is the Mazda section, if you will. Mazda, as of late, has become increasingly popular, and because of that, new generation Mazdas actually hold their value extremely well. This is not an example of that. This is a 2014, so over 10 years old at this point, Mazda CX-5 Grand Touring, $15,000 with 111,000 miles on it. I don't know, still kind of pricey, still feels about $4,000 to $5,000 more than what it should be with that kind of mileage. You guys tell me. And just for context, I do want to show you this newer generation Mazda CX-5, kind of show you how these values hold up. This is a 2023, sorry it's going to be hard to see guys, but 2023 Mazda CX-5 2.5 for $28,000. I know it's kind of hard to see. This one has only 15,000 miles on it, but 28 grand right here for a 2023 example anyway. And there is no denying that these new Mazdas look amazing. They look incredible. I love that front end. Those headlights are super menacing. Just that entire front end, especially with the graphic on the hood. I am a fan of how these new Mazdas look. So this is also a CX-5, well, CX-50, excuse me, 2.5 turbo. $34,000 for it with 19,000 miles. Now, in and out, these are pretty sleek. And honestly, if I'm going to pay a premium for a very used vehicle, it is going to be a Toyota or a Honda, like this particular example. This is a 2016 Honda CR-V EXL with 102,000 miles on it, which is a lot, but if I am going to pay a premium price tag on any vehicle here for that kind of miles, it is going to be the Honda. Examples like this. This is a 2015 Toyota Corolla LE. Still kind of a higher price tag, but when you get a closer look, the mileage is super low for that year anyway. But if I'm going to spend a premium, it's going to be on the Toyota or Honda. with that kind of miles. I definitely feel for Nissan because nearly half of Nissan dealerships throughout the US right now are losing money month to month. Here I just have a couple used examples here, and given the price tag and the mileage points, it does appear to be at least a good example of what could be a good entry vehicle to build someone's credit right out of the gate. So that is a silver lining of Carmax, right? Being able to actually get into a vehicle, get a loan on a vehicle, and start building that credit. Even if it is going to be a little bit more expensive and to your detriment to some degree with those monthly payments, at least you are building credit. And if you do make every single payment, you'll start teetering toward that great and excellent credit score rating, which will allow you to buy a brand new vehicle easier. You know, I've always had a soft spot for these Volkswagen Golf Rs and GTIs in general. I love that hot hatch segment. But man, I didn't realize that they were this expensive. I haven't followed them too closely. Obviously, I got 4 kiddos. I'm not going to be buying a hot hatch at this point in my life. But 15,000 miles on this 2019 Golf R, and they still want $37,000. Is that normal for the Golf R fans out there? You tell me if that is a reasonable price tag. This is always a section that I'm interested in, the Toyota RAV4 section. So a couple older generations, a few newer ones here. Let's pop over to this white example. This is a 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE for $26,000 with 47,000 miles on it. I would still hope for that to be $20,000 to $21,000 with that kind of mileage, it being a 2021. So we have quite the Subaru lineup here. I'll kind of pick out my favorite example here. This one here is the Wilderness Edition. This is an Outback. I've eyeballed this. I really like the Geyser Blue color that came out on these. This one here, $34,000 with 22,000 miles, is already about 3 years old. That is not far from the new price tag of about $38,000 for these. I would certainly buy new before I bought one that's 3 years old for that tag. So Stellantis is in a whole lot of trouble, right? A couple lawsuits flying around the brand. They're losing money, almost 60% drop in their stock since March of this year. So it isn't a surprise that Stellantis is coming together and determining which of their 14 brands underneath the Stellantis umbrella, to include Jeep, are they going to consider for cutting. Between now and 2026, which ones are they going to try to cut loose? It doesn't shock me too much to see a huge lineup of Jeep examples here because the inventory levels at Jeep dealerships are just racking up day by day, and they cannot move the inventory. So of course, they can't sell the used ones. It honestly will not be long until this previous 3rd gen Toyota Tacoma starts to even hike up even more in price tag because of that guy right here. Although it looks great, underneath the surface though, you do get a garbage automatic transmission, a 4-cylinder engine underneath the hood, a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's just not inspiring a whole lot of confidence. But because of that, we are getting influx of 3rd generation Toyota Tacomas that are upping in value. These are becoming even more popular because they do have a trusty 3.5 naturally aspirated V6 underneath the hood. This is a 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, $46,000 with only 3,000 miles on it. So that's not really that bad because this was right around the brand new price tag for this 2023 model back in 2023, slightly less than it. So not too bad. And when we talk about repossession rates going through the roof over the last couple of years, even just 23% up in the last few months here in 2024, this right here is generally a prime culprit of it. This right here is what people generally buy as their fun weekend toys, but this is generally the first to go, right? The first that people fail to make a payment on. This is a 2019 Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack for $42,000 with 19,000 miles on it. That is not terribly far from its original price tag back in 2019, but that's our reality here. So I'll wrap up the video there, guys. What do you believe? I mean, Carmax right now, they're kind of hanging on just with the fact that banks are not issuing loans out for new automotive loan purchases. People aren't getting approved. And while that 20% that are getting declined, they need to go somewhere. They still need a vehicle, and Carmax is generally it. So it is safe to say that Carmax is still keeping the prices of used vehicles pretty high because they're able to with that in mind. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you appreciate this type of content, guys. As always, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune in. If you like this content at all, please let me know, and please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a lot and doesn't go unnoticed. Until next time.